Hi, welcome to the Jim RPG Show. So, I haven't been doing that much PS5 and Xbox Series X coverage on my channel, and that's mostly because I'm looking to get PC hardware for the time being, so that's why most of my content has been PC based. But today I've got an interesting story about the PS5 and the Xbox Series X, and it has to do with the scalping situation of the consoles. And it seems as though nobody's actually learned anything from the NVIDIA RTX 3080 GPUs, and it seems as though that this scalping situation is just going to keep on going forever until, somebody actually does something about it. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to look at the scalping situation. So I'll show off some slides first, and then we'll come back and discuss afterwards. And then I want to talk about how Sony and Microsoft can actually stop this scalping situation. And it's really up to them to do so. So if you haven't done so already, make sure to subscribe to this channel for more gaming videos like this. Okay, so let's take a look at some of this information. And the first tweet is from Mike, and he says, F your feelings. And it looks like he's done a little bit of interior decoration. And, honestly, if you are looking to get a PS5, maybe just message him casually and ask if you can get one for $500, see what he says. Be interested to hear his response. Okay, so this is a live look outside Mike's house right now. And I wouldn't be surprised if there are some pretty angry people outside his house. Okay, so how do they do this? Now, actually, about a month ago or 2 months ago, I did an RTX 3080 scalper video. So make sure to check that video out if you want more information about how they do this scalping for these consoles. But essentially, they have these bots, and these bots just spam Walmart and Best Buy, and they keep spamming them in the hope that, some of these orders will go through. And these bots seem to be really successful. So we have Mr. Dummer. He used a bot, which was Rush AIO. So Rush AIO have all of this stuff set up so that they can instantly access the website as soon as these consoles come online. And in this one, he says that the checkout time was 29 seconds, the payment time was 24 seconds, and overall it took 61 seconds. Now, a lot of people might think, well, a minute, most humans could achieve or check out in a minute. So what's the difference between that? Well, the difference is that these bots actually get in ahead of other people because they have the fastest connection, and then they're able to do this many, many times over. So if they get a denial request, they just continue to keep on trying until they actually get through. Jimmy Mo Jerry got nearly 20 PS5 checkouts, and it even beats the AI capture. Zach FNF got a ton of PS5s and Xbox Series X's. I didn't do a count, but that could be well over 50 units. So let's check on our best friend Bounce Alerts, because I covered them for the 3080 video. And we have Brucef, and he got a $550 profit, and he's blacked out what he actually bought, but we all know what it is because he paid $1,150, or somebody paid $1,150 for it. It's probably a PS5 or Xbox Series X. Pack Sweets spent $43,000 on the 13th of November. And as you can see there, he got 91 checkouts and he had 460 failures. Now let's check in on eBay prices, and for the Xbox Series X, we're seeing prices around about $850 to $1,000 sold on eBay. And for PS5, it's a little bit higher than that, obviously because there's more demand for the PS5s, and we're seeing about $1,200, maybe $1,000 for the PS5. IGN writes, PS5 scalpers are selling consoles close to $2,000. Now, how many PS5s are actually out there on the market? Well, by the end of the year, there could be 10 million PS5 units. So if you're waiting for a PS5, know that there's going to be units coming down the line. So if you're worried about it, just hold off. Maybe 1 week or 2 weeks, there's going to be more shipments of these coming in, so you don't have to pay these crazy prices. I mean, of course, if you have endless amounts of money, of course, you could go and buy your $1,000 PS5s. But really, if you can wait a couple of weeks, there's going to be more PS5s. So how do you stop these scalpers? Well, I heard a lot of people say Best Buy and Walmart, they need to only sell 1 unit per person, and there needs to be an ID check. And I think they should absolutely do that. There should be no reason why they shouldn't do that. And definitely put in some more checks for these consoles when you go and buy them. But the other thing is that you're still looking at a very limited supply of these consoles. So people are going to try anything to get their hands on one, especially if there's a limited supply and there's a massive demand. And it doesn't matter if people use bots or scalpers, or people are lining up in the cold with 20 of their friends to get like 20 PS5 consoles. People are just going to try stuff if they have the opportunity there to make money off of them. So I think the real situation here is that the supply is too low and there needs to be more supply. Now, obviously, Sony and Microsoft, they've already worked out the number of consoles they want to sell. And they obviously have a number of consoles that they want to manufacture over this time period. So they're not going to go over that, and they're not going to suddenly make 20 million consoles a week just to satisfy the launch demand. They're not going to do that because that just costs too much to set up all of these factories that are going to just make it for this launch period. So the only way they can really solve this supply situation is if they go back and just release it for single regions alone, because right now the demand is too great, right? So if you're trying to satisfy all of this worldwide demand, then you're going to get scalping situations everywhere in the world. And honestly, I think it's a bad look for Sony and Microsoft if they say that this console is supposed to go for $499, but nobody can actually get one of these at $499. I think that's a very bad look for PR. So let's say Sony started making these in June or July, and there's 10 million of them by the end of the year. So that's about 2 million units for each month. So that's about 400 to 500,000 per week. So I think if they shipped all of these 400, 500,000 units per week to the US as the first region, then that would be going a long way to combating the scalping situation, as opposed to splitting up that stock and only sending the US, say, 100,000 or 200,000 units. And that's going to stop a lot of the scalping, because the scalpers will be more concerned that there's more supply in the market, so they'd be less likely to go and scalp them. Right now, people are taking this opportunity. People are actually taking the bet that there's not going to be any consoles out there, so that they can go and sell their overpriced console. So I think the first thing Sony can do is to increase the supply for one region, and then later on, once they've solved the situation and once demand gets back to normal and they can fulfill it at a reasonable rate, then they can start to sell it to other regions like Europe and Australia and Japan. And I think a lot of people will say, well, won't people just go to the US and buy all of the units out of there and ship them overseas? Well, then I think that's another question, and I think that would be more they might need some sort of like region locking for the first year or something that can be undone by like a patch. But that's probably a lot of detail that they could work out later on. But if they really wanted to solve this supply situation, then they just have to release more consoles per region. Okay, so there are my thoughts on how Sony and Microsoft could go and fix the scalping situation, because really it's in their hands, right? They need to be a responsible company, and they need to put up their hand and say, well, there's more that we can do about the situation, and we can't just leave it to Walmart and Best Buy to resolve the situation, because it looks as though that they don't know how they can actually go and resolve it. So I think they're my thoughts on the issue. Let me know in the comments below what you think about the situation. Do you think that Sony need to do something about the scalping situation? Let me know in the comments below. And remember, if you like this video, make sure to click the like button and also to subscribe to this channel for more videos like this. And I'll see you in the next one.